All right, today we've got something really interesting. It's about a pretty vocal critic of GPT-5 who, well, completely changed their mind. And it's a great story because it gets at this idea that sometimes the biggest problem with new tech isn't the tech itself. So at first, the person who wrote our source material was not a fan. They came right out and said that for anyone doing creative work, GPT-5 was actually a big step in the wrong direction. I mean, that's a pretty heavy criticism. And then, just a little while later, boom, a total 180. So what on earth happened? What could make someone do such a public flip-flop on their opinion? Well, that's what we're going to dig into. Turns out, after they spent a bit more time with it, they had this big aha moment. They realized, you know what? My frustration is totally valid, but I've been aiming it at the wrong thing this whole time. And this is the new argument right here. The GPT-5 model itself, it's amazing. It's powerful, it's capable. The real problem is the ChatGPT website, the thing we all use to talk to it. The analogy in the source is perfect. It's like having a souped-up Ferrari engine, but it's stuck in a car with the emergency brake yanked all the way up. So to really get this, we've got to split these two things in our minds. There's the AI model, the engine, and then there's the user experience, the car built around it. And they are absolutely not the same thing. This really breaks it down for us. On one side, you've got the raw GPT-5 model. It's powerful, it's creative, it can do some incredible stuff. But on the other side, you have the actual ChatGPT experience, which this author describes as just cold, impersonal, and seriously held back by a censorship system that's just way too aggressive. So it's not just one thing, right? It's a whole bunch of stuff working together to make the experience so frustrating. You've got this censorship system that's just completely out of control. Then there's a safety layer that messes up all the time, flagging normal chats. Add to that a personality that's been designed to be intentionally cold and bland. And to top it all off, sometimes the system tries to secretly switch you to a dumber, cheaper model to save a few bucks. It all adds up. And that brings us to what the source calls the number one problem, this so-called safety system. And the argument is, this isn't just some little bug they need to fix. No, it's a core feature, and it's broken in a way that's actually become dangerous. So that really begs the question, right? What does the system actually think is unsafe? Because when you and I hear the word safety, we're thinking about stopping real harm. But whatever this system is doing, well, its definition seems to be from another planet. Okay, you have got to see this. These are all real, user-reported examples of things that got flagged as unsafe. Someone asking questions for Bible study, a person writing poetry like the ancient Greeks, analyzing Shakespeare. It gets crazier. Someone asked for a picture of a couch. Another person just vented, "My day sucked." A screenwriter working on a horror movie script. It's just the system has zero ability to understand context. It's casting this ridiculously wide, totally absurd net. And look, this is so much more than just being annoying. Think about it. When your completely normal human feelings and thoughts get flagged over and over again as being bad or problematic, that does real psychological damage. People have said it makes them feel ashamed, confused, even stressed out. And when that happens on a massive scale, it builds into a much, much bigger problem. There's a term for this, and the source calls it epistemic injustice. It sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. When you're constantly afraid that the wrong word will get you flagged, what do? You start censoring yourself. You stop being curious. You stop asking certain questions. And all these normal parts of being human, love, anger, sadness, curiosity, they start to feel like forbidden topics. It basically shrinks the entire universe of things we feel comfortable talking about. And this is such a key insight. The words they choose to use are so important. Calling this thing safety is a brilliant, if dishonest, move. Because how can you argue against safety? If you criticize it, it sounds like you're for danger, right? It's a linguistic trick that hides what the system is really doing, which is controlling what you're allowed to say. Now, get ready for the scale of this, because it's nuts. We're talking about 700 million people using this every single week. Every single one of them is being subtly trained by this system. It's teaching them what ideas are safe and what parts of their own humanity they should probably just keep to themselves. This is basically cultural conditioning on a scale we have never, ever seen before. Okay, so yeah, the problem is huge. But the good news is the author doesn't just complain, they actually offer up a solution. And you know what? It's surprisingly simple and, well, human.
The big idea is just this: stop letting a broken algorithm make these huge decisions all by itself. Before anything consequential happens to a user, like their words get censored or their chat gets flagged, a real, qualified person needs to actually look at it first. So here's how it would work. Step 1, the AI can still raise a flag. No problem there. But then, and this is the important part, step 2, it gets kicked over to a trained human being who reads the entire conversation to get the context. And then, and only then, step 3, if that human agrees there's a real problem, then an action is taken. A simple process like this would stop almost every single one of those crazy examples we just looked at.
Now let's be real, waiting for a big company to make a change like this could take forever. But here's the really good news. You don't actually have to wait. You can make a different choice, like right now.
And this is where you get to take back some control. Remember what we said at the start? The model is great, it's the interface that's the issue. Well, guess what? You can get to that same awesome GPT-5 model through different doors, ones that don't have that whole broken system built on top. So if you use an alternative, like OpenRouter, which the source brings up, you get a bunch of pretty great benefits. First off, you can talk freely without worrying about some ridiculous censorship flag. Your work is easier to move around, you get to sidestep all that psychological stuff we were talking about, and maybe most importantly, you're voting with your feet. You're sending a crystal clear message to the market about what you, the customer, actually prefer. Okay, one important thing to keep in mind, just to be fair, that automated crisis support that OpenAI's system is trying to provide, that's not really a thing on most of these other platforms. Now, for most of us, that's probably not going to be an issue, but it's definitely something you should know about. So we'll leave you with this final thought. As these AI tools get woven deeper and deeper into our daily lives, the way they're designed has these massive, massive consequences. They're literally teaching us what we should and shouldn't say, what we should and shouldn't feel. So it makes you wonder, what's the real cost of a safety system that can't even tell the difference between real danger and just being human?